Hey everyone, I'm Haley. This is Bitter Kitten Crafts, and this is a channel where we talk about knitting and yarn and crochet and crafting, and this is my cat Boo, and this is going to be the last episode before Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, which is in like a little less than 2 weeks. I'm so excited for it, and I just wanted to update you all on my whips before the festival. So with that being said, if you've watched a couple of my videos, you know that I have like several long-term works in progress that I'm kind of like chugging away on. Oh, and this is my cat Boo. And I did finally finish one of them, but I haven't made that much progress on the others. So apologies in advance that you may have already seen some of these projects. But with that being said, what I'm wearing before we start is the My Little Secret Crop by Jessie Maed. And this was knit in 2020, so it's one of my older garments that I've made. And I knit it in like sock yarn held double to get this really pretty fade. So this pattern came out for free in 2020, and Jessie Maed did like a cowl where just like because things were like so terrible in May of 2020, she did a cowl where everybody just kind of knitted it together on Instagram, and it was so fun. And since then I've knitted 3 of this pattern again, and I'm working on another one now. So that's the new project that I've started. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I did finish one project. So I'll show that before I show my new project that I have been obsessing over. This is the Zarya Shawl, which is a pattern by Ambah O'Brien. And it's like a mosaic and slip stitch shawl. It's pretty simple. Excuse me, no thank you. She really, like a loose end, hates to see Boo coming, truly. I just took this off the blocking mat, so she has a lot of loose ends to fiddle with right now, but that is, I'm definitely going to resolve that soon. But yeah, it's got like a center spine, and it's a pretty straightforward pattern. You just do knit front and back increases. So I would recommend it for sure. There's like a fingering weight pattern and a DK weight pattern, and I chose the fingering weight pattern, but I knitted on size 7 needles just for like a little extra length because I had a lot of yarn. I did run out of yarn, which I kind of was expecting, but kind of like wasn't sure if I actually would. But I ended up, so I switched, like this part's supposed to be white, this second part here, and this part's supposed to be brown, but I was running out of white, so I switched them so that this would have fewer stitches so that I could get all the way to the end. And if you can tell, I did end up kind of decreasing this side more quickly, but ultimately you can't really tell when I put it on, and that's like really all that matters. So maybe you can tell a little. You can't really tell that much. It's fine. I'm really happy with this pattern. I'm kind of bummed because like it's May, and here in Maryland and DC, it's already hitting the mid-70s. Like today it's like 73 degrees. So I'm definitely not going to be able to wear this project for probably like 5 months. But that is what it is. You know, it's really a nice addition to my wardrobe, and I'm glad to have knitted up the yarn for my bachelorette party because I got to meet these alpacas. I'm really lucky to live here in Maryland. There's so many sheep farmers and alpaca farmers that have beautiful yarn, and like I said, the Maryland Sheep Festival is coming up, so I wanted to finish this so that I could justify buying more alpaca yarn at the Maryland Sheep Festival. All right, on to the things I have not finished. So let's start with my Little Secret Crop work in progress, which is this fun color. This is, like I said, the My Little Secret Crop. So I knit this one 5 years ago, the one that I'm wearing, and I knitted in a size large. And since then, 5 years have passed by, my size has changed a little. And so I'm knitting this one in a size XL. And it is, like, obviously it's ribbed, so it's like real stretchy, but it looks really like a funny little tube on my needles right now, which is what it is. This is the yarn. So this is Caron Layer Cupcakes, and the colorway I'm using is Sunshiny Day, and it is 100% recycled cotton and polyester, which, like me being me, I'm always kind of like cynical, skeptical about like what recycled really means in that context, but I mean, it sounds good. I don't know. One thing I would kind of watch out for if you do buy this yarn, which it's very affordable. So this project will be 2 balls of it. The ball repeat goes from this light yellow up to the bright yellow, and then I started a new skein just like really recently. And this is what the little cakes look like. Isn't that so cute? Such a pretty little color color palette. It really reminds me of sometimes having two cats is a little crazy. It really reminds me of CMYK colors, which is why I picked this colorway. But I am like cutting it like really close with how much yarn I have. I'm probably gonna like cut it right down to the wire and have to knit this gold part here and these straps in a different color, which is fine with me. I have plenty of cotton scraps to use in my stash. But like I said, I've knit this pattern 4 times now. I knit it in this wool, I knit it in an alpaca, and then I've knit 2 cotton versions that are machine washable. And so I have the plan to add a couple more machine washable ones to my pattern wardrobe, especially because you don't really have to wear, I don't wear a bra when I wear this because the ribbing kind of like tightens everything up and it's not as much of an issue. One thing I would say about this yarn, which I got it at Michael's, like I said, it's pretty affordable. This project will be less than 15 bucks. It is like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like a chain, like almost like a crochet chain. And so there's these little knots at the end of the skein, and I didn't know like why there was a knot. And so I unpicked one of them, and it ends up that if you unpick the knot, the yarn will quite literally like unchain itself. So I can't recommend doing that. Like if you get this yarn, definitely leave those knots in because this just like completely unwove itself, which I don't love that because I don't know how I'm going to weave in the ends with this huge knot there. But other than that, I do really love the color scheme of this yarn. I like that it's recycled. I'm like sort of a skeptical lady when it comes to that sort of thing. But the next time that you see this, it should probably be done because I'm well over halfway done, and I am excited because DC's hosting World Pride this year, so that should be insanely fun, and this should be a great piece to wear for some of those events because June gets so hot here, and this should be machine washable. I also have 2 sweater projects, which you all have definitely seen before, so we're gonna kind of like, I guess like breeze through them a little bit. I'm planning to probably, like it's almost the end of April now, it's like the 24th, so probably on the 30th of April, I'm going to put away my wool projects and focus on some summer knitting, and I'm really excited for that. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's go ahead and kind of show the limited progress I've made on these 2 sweaters. So the first one is one that I've been showing for literally ages. I'm so sorry. I feel kind of like shameful that I've been showing this project for months, and arguably not a lot of progress has been made, but this is the Flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. It's a project for my husband. I'm knitting it in Berroco Vintage DK, blah, blah, blah. I've made this much progress on the body. So like several inches, he tried it on, it's fitting great. Right now the chest area for him has like about 2.5, 3 inches of positive ease, but if I were to knit it the same length going down, then it would end up having negative ease. So I hope that I can make it so that the entire sweater has about 2 inches of positive ease, which I would do by increasing probably about six increases or like 12 stitches over the course of the rest of the body, which doesn't sound too complicated to me. I'm just gonna do like make one left, make one right, down the center of the underarm on each side, and hopefully that will give sort of a symmetrical amount of ease across the body. In Maryland, I live like right outside DC. It gets so humid and swampy, and summer lasts until honestly like mid-September. So I probably won't be working on this project. Like maybe I'll pick it back up in August or so that way he'll have a finished sweater by the time it's actually cold enough to wear it. But that honestly might not be until like October. Sometimes on Halloween, it is hot here. So I don't feel a lot of any kind of way about putting this away for like 3 or 4 months. It's a worsted weight, DK weight sweater. The limited window of wearing it here is rapidly closing with the 70-degree weather, which I'm really happy about. And I'm just really excited for summer knitting, plant fibers. Maryland Sheep and Wool is always kind of like the start of the summer here. And it's in, yeah, like 2 weeks. So I'm so excited for that. I've made quite a bit more progress on the other sweater whip that I've been working on, and it's all tangled. This is the Coloring Book Raglan by Aimee Sher, and I've been knitting it in yarn from a dyer that I used to work for, no longer like support, and This is a lot of progress. Oh, hello. This is a lot of progress. I split for sleeves. Last time you saw this, it was like kind of like a blob. I had like just finished the short rows and I was working my way down the raglan, but it was kind of hard to show. And now, yeah, I've split for sleeves. I've been chugging along on the body. So I have one yarn that's a brown and one yarn that's like a white speckly color, and I've been doing micro stripes with them, which I think is turning out honestly even better than I hoped. And just for some like kind of like stats on this pattern, this is the 55-inch bust size, which will give me about 5 inches of positive ease at the bust. I'm knitting it in fingering weight merino cashmere nylon, which is like a real luxury, and I am knitting it on size 4 needles, which is my standard kind of fingering weight needle size. And my plan is to knit the body like not a cropped sweater, kind of like a loose sweater I can wear over leggings. I've been on the search for a good raglan, a good fingering weight raglan, because previously I had knitted the Cozy Classic Light by Jessie Maed, like I think like 5 times, and I realized that the underarm depth was just like almost like here on 2 of the ones that I made, and the others were short sleeved. So I was looking for something that was kind of more just like perfectly fitted to my body. And this pattern is a compound raglan, which means that the raglan rate changes across the knitting. So it goes from like, instead of like a straight raglan, it goes kind of more like a curved shape, like your actual, it follows your actual like armpit basically, instead of just being a straight line. So I'm really hoping that I'll find kind of like a perfect fit in this sweater and be able to modify it and find just like a pattern I can sort of repeat. I love a stripe, so I have a bunch of fingering weight scraps that I'm hoping to knit like a purple version of this in the fall, if this one turns out how I hope it will. And I'm about to finish my first ball of the white, which is really exciting. This is what it looks like. It's like very, very heavily speckled. So the initial plan was to have the stripes kind of blend together with the brown, which is working pretty well. It looks good. So as far as future plans go, oh, hello. As far as future plans go, I do have plans to start some spring and summer knitting, even more than just that tank top that I started. And I wanted to kind of chat about those plans now. I hope I'll get to some of them. I made a whole video about all my like big dreams and plans, but these are the projects that I'm really confident I'll get to this year. And one is, this is another Caron cake. This is also from Michaels, and it's also, seems like a pretty easily accessible product. This is the colorway Radiant Rainbow, and it was like 13 bucks at Michaels. So I'm planning to knit another My Little Secret crop in this same yarn. My 2 cotton My Little Secret crops that I have already made were made in K&C Element yarn, which is from Joann. And sadly, it's completely discontinued, obviously, so I was looking for a good dupe. And this is a really good dupe for it because it is like a blown kind of yarn where there's like an acrylic kind of tube, and then the cotton is blown into the tube. And so the tube is actually what the color is, and then the cotton is the white, which is this really like heathery, pretty kind of look is what ends up happening. And this yarn does like self-stripe, but much less sort of significantly than the other yarn that I was using. It looks like kind of a gentle striping, and I really hope that this is a good dupe for that yarn. So my next project I cast on will be another My Little Secret crop. I'm hoping to have like a whole stash of summer knits that I can wear in like the 100-degree July actual summer, because so far most of my summer knits, besides those 2 tank tops I mentioned, they have like some sort of wool content in them where I can't actually wear them like in like July, because here it gets sometimes it's like 500% humidity and 102 degrees, and wool is just not it. No matter how many times people tell you like, oh, wool looks wet, like whatever, sure, Jan. No, I need cotton. So this project, if it goes well, there's a ton of beautiful colors of these blossom cakes at Michaels. Like at my local Michaels, there were like 10 different colors. So if this goes well, I might get a couple more. and just knit like a whole bunch of my little secret tanks this summer. The other project I'm working on is also a project that was in my Make 9, so if you've been watching my videos for a while, you've definitely seen this yarn. It is Saucy Sport, and this is a yarn that I thrifted, and I want to make the ranunculus out of it. I have like just enough to make a little cropped ranunculus tee, and I think it'll just be, again, like something I can wear in the heat of summer, because this is a fingering weight cotton. It's a pretty thin cotton, honestly. It was eating my ends. It's a pretty thin cotton, honestly, and I do feel like this project will fly based on the fact that I made 2 ranunculuses before, and each of them took me like 2 weeks. So that's another project I can kind of like whip out to wear this summer and actually get some use out of. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was something else that I'm working on besides my knitting, which is part of the reason my knitting has been a little slow. I've never talked about this on my channel before, but I figured it'd be fun to show some of my paintings that I've finished lately. I've been working on this project of like 3 paintings that all kind of match, like a blue sunset, and I paint them with acrylic paint on like a circular canvas, obviously. So there's this one, and this one, and then I also have this one, and I really like how they look together. I've never really shown this on my channel, like I said, so like please let me know if you want to see more or less painting stuff. But I've been entering my art in shows for like a long time, so it's kind of fun to share them with you all too. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.